Welcome, hello, hi, nice to have you. Thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel. My name's Amy, and if you're here for the first time, we are going to go through today a 1 hour, or maybe a little bit longer, of beginner's yoga. So if you're very new to yoga, if you've never tried it before, or if you're just here as a beginner, then this hopefully will give you a few pointers, enable you to practice safely, and just give you some information on how to align yourself correctly in the postures that we go through. So we're not going to be doing anything too strenuous. We're just going to be, I'll be guiding you through a lot of the postures that are used in flow classes, especially in my classes that I teach, and the basic postures that make up a yoga class. So without further ado, let's talk about equipment first and what you have and where you're practicing. So making sure you've just got a nice space in your house or wherever you are, enough to put a yoga mat down, if you have a yoga mat, or a long towel, something that you're going to be able to practice on. If you have a yoga block, amazing. If you don't, and I do appreciate and understand that a lot of people might not have a yoga block, then you can just grab a cushion or a pillow or a chunky textbook, something that will allow you to, something that's a little bit sturdy that will allow you to either sit on it or use it as a prop for balancing and aiding your postures. So let's use the block and come to a seated position on your mat. If you want to practice barefoot, that is preferable. It'll just give you a bit more of a grip on the mat or on the surface that you're practicing on. If not, then that's perfectly fine. But just be mindful that you might slide around a little bit as you won't get that preferred grip. Have some water handy as well, maybe a towel. We are going to be moving, so you might get a little bit out of breath, but nothing too intense. All right, so bringing the block or your cushion underneath your sit bones. I'm just going to turn this way so you can see. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm just perched on the edge of my block here. I'm not sitting fully on my block, just the sit bones are on the edge. And we sit on a block. I'll turn back so that you can see how my legs are positioned. I usually sit on a block because my hips aren't that open. And if I come to a cross-legged position, just normally without anything under my sit bones, then my knees tend to be higher than my hips. So we just like to elevate the hips a little bit higher than the knees so that we can create space in the lower body. So with that said, when you're comfortable with your position on the block or on your cushion, just bring your legs to cross-legged. Doesn't have to be how mine are, and your knees might still be lifted, that's fine. And then allow your palms to rest on top of your knees. If you feel like you're wanting a little bit more grounding today, if you feel like you're just wanting some kind of, bit of solace, then you can place your palms down. Or if you want to invite a little bit more energy into your practice, allow your palms to face up to the ceiling and draw your thumb and your index finger together for a chin mudra. And then roll your shoulders up and away from your ears, or back and down, just circulating, making some movements. And before we start, I will just say if you have any injuries, then just practice mindfully. You know your body more than I do, and I can't see you or offer adjustments or offer advice at the moment. So if there's anything that you feel like is going to be too much for you, just back off, back away from the posture, and just come to rest, and then join back in when you feel like you're ready. And we'll work through as much as possible, but just don't feel that you have to do every single posture. Okay, so closing down your eyes here in your seated position. Allow your shoulders to relax. Allow your forehead to relax. Allow your jaw to relax. Allow your mind to relax. And as we sit up tall, the crown of our head reaching towards the ceiling, I invite you to observe how your body feels today on the mat, how your breath feels, whether it's deep or shallow, long or short, how your mind feels. Is it full of ideas, thoughts, anxieties, stresses, worries, reminders, things that you might need to do throughout the day? And if it is, just allow those thoughts to creep up and then just let them pass. And then I invite you to draw your attention and your awareness to the space in between your eyebrows, your third eye centre. You can come back to this focus point, this space, in your mind space, at any point that you do feel your mind wandering. It just allows you to have something to focus on and to focus your breath. So now as we come to observe our breath, I want you to take a deep inhale through the nose and let it go through your mouth. And again, breathe in and breathe out. Then bring your lips together, just gently touching, and start to inhale and exhale through your nose. You can part your lips if it's difficult, if you do have a blocked nose or anything like that. Don't worry about trying to force yourself to inhale and exhale through your nose. You can part your lips. And just observe how you're breathing. And then on your next inhale, I invite you to send the breath into your abdomen. So as you breathe in, your belly rises and fills up with air. And as you breathe out, you draw your navel back towards your spine and release the breath from your belly. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, navel to spine. Release the breath from your belly. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. Let's maybe increase the count of our breath. So on your next inhale, let's breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, expanding the belly. And then as you breathe out, release through the abdomen for 4, 3, 2, 1. And just do this 2 more times for the count of 4. Breathing in through your belly, allowing your belly to rise as you inhale. And then allowing your belly to fall as you exhale. Last time, breathing in and releasing. Next inhale, let's expand through the abdomen once more, but then take the breath into the chest and up into your rib cage, expanding through your thoracic region, really opening up and filling your lungs with air. And then as you exhale, let the chest fall, let the rib cage fall, and release the breath through the belly. Allow your navel to come back towards your spine. Again, inhaling through the belly, in through the chest, rib cage, into this thoracic region. And then releasing through your chest, rib cage and abdomen. One more time. Inhale, belly rises. Rib cage expands, chest expands. Breath comes into the thoracic cavities. And then as you exhale, release. And then on your next inhale, I invite you to send the breath all the way through your body. So breathing in, allow your belly to rise, allow your rib cage to expand, chest expands, breath ascends upwards into your collarbones and shoulders and maybe to the crown of your head. And then as you release, drawing your gaze back to that space in between your eyebrows, let the breath go from your shoulders, collarbones, chest, rib cage and belly. We're going to do 2 more rounds of this full yogic breath. Breathing in, expanding through the belly, through your chest, through your shoulders, your collarbones, and to the crown of your head. Releasing all the way down, really switching onto your parasympathetic nervous system, so you rest and digest, allowing your body to soften, your mind to soften, allowing everything to calm. One more time, inhaling and exhaling. Okay, on the base of your last exhale, let's just draw our awareness back to our normal rhythm of breathing. And begin to dip your chin towards your chest, keeping your eyes closed for a moment. And then flutter open your eyelids and lift your gaze. And we'll start to make some movements into the body. So maybe just rotating the neck from side to side, dipping the chin towards the chest. Left ear to left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder. If it feels comfortable, you can rotate the neck all the way around. Just gently moving into the upper spine. Okay. And then relaxing the neck, bringing it back to neutral. Let's take a deep inhale and raise those hands all the way to the ceiling. Maybe your gaze follows, maybe your palms touch. And then exhale, draw the hands to heart center. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Last time. Inhale. Arms rise. Palms might touch. Gaze might follow if that's comfortable. And exhale. Draw the energy back to your heart. Okay. Let's work into the side body. Placing the left arm on the floor. Take the right arm. Take an inhale. Lift the right arm. And as you exhale, send the right arm over your shoulder. Maybe your gaze comes up to the ceiling if that's comfortable on the neck. Opening through the right side of your body. Breathe in and breathe out. Next inhale draws you all the way back up and you plant that right hand down. Let's go to the left side. So right hand rooted. Inhale, lift the left arm, and on the exhale, let's send the left arm over our head. Maybe again the gaze comes up to the ceiling. Breathe in. Peel that left arm away from your ear and breathe out. Inhale comes back to center. Exhale releases the left hand. Let's just take a twist. It's taking the right hand to the left knee. Inhaling and lengthening through the spine, so lifting to sit up straight. And then exhale, we're going to twist to the left. Really just not an intense twist at the moment, just something gentle. Maybe gazing over your left shoulder if that's comfortable. Really just, if this is the first time you've made any movement like this today, just be kind to yourself, be mindful, your body's not fully warmed up yet. And then inhale, coming all the way back to centre, resetting the spine, and we go to the opposite side. Left hand to right knee, the right arm comes behind, and we lift and lengthen on the inhale through our spine. And on the exhale, we can twist and move into the space we've just created, gazing over our right shoulder. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale comes back to centre, and your exhale resets your spine. Let's take another deep inhale, raise your hands all the way to the ceiling, swoop up that energy in that air, and then exhale, draw it back to your heart centre. Alright, remove the block or the cushion from underneath your sit bones and set it to one side. You might want it later on, you might not. And then let's plant our hands on the floor, come into tabletop. So we want a nice flat back here. Fingers want to be spread nice and wide. Hands are about shoulder distance apart, wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders. Tops of the feet pressed into the floor, knees about hip distance apart and knees stacked underneath hips. We'll run through some cats and cows, okay, to mobilise through the spine. Take an inhale, you're going to arch your spine, maybe your gaze lifts, tailbone lifts, and you shine your heart through the gates of your arms. As you exhale, round the spine, gaze comes towards your mat, feel your shoulder blades part, and then inhale, come into your cow, just arching that back, drawing your shoulder blades together, and exhale, you're going to come into your cat. Round the spine, push your mat away from you, gaze towards your knees. Inhale, come back into your cow. Really feel as if you're pulling the mat towards you here. Shine that heart through the gates of your arms and exhale into your cat. 2 more times, breathe in. Come into your cow and breathe out into your cat. You're drawing your navel up towards your spine. Last time, I think, unless I've done too many, it doesn't matter. Breathe in, breathe out, gaze towards your knees, and then inhale, come to this tabletop flat back again. Alright, we're going to make some movements into the legs and the arms now. So staying and keeping your positioning and your alignment here. We're going to inhale and lengthen the left arm and lengthen the right leg. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Flex the right foot. As you exhale, round the spine, push the mat away and draw your elbow towards your knee. Take an inhale, you're going to lengthen. Flexing the right foot. Exhale, knee draws in, round the spine, create some space, elbow to knee. Last time, inhale. Lengthen both limbs. Exhale, draw your elbow to your knee. And then inhale, come back to tabletop. We'll do that on the opposite side. Take an inhale, lengthen the left leg. Lengthen the right arm. And then exhale, draw your elbow towards your knee, round the spine. Create some space here for your elbow and your knee to move underneath you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Last time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale comes back to tabletop. And we keep moving in this rhythm. Take an inhale, lengthen your right leg. Exhale, draw your knee towards your nose this time, so you're rounding through your spine. And then step your right foot in between your hands. Okay, back foot, top of the back foot is rooted into the mat. Ankle is below the knee. Try and avoid tracking the knee over the ankle because this is going to affect the knee joint. So move it back so your ankle gives your knee support here. And then take an inhale and rise into a low lunge. Okay, you can sink your hips down a little bit further if that's comfortable. Your gaze can come up, your palms can touch, or your arms can come to a cactus shape, whatever is comfortable on your shoulders and your neck. Breathe in. And then breathe out. Let's frame that front foot and step the right foot back to meet the left, so we're back in tabletop. Take an inhale, lengthen the left leg to the back of the room. Exhale, draw your knee in towards your nose, so your gaze comes towards your knee. And then as you exhale, plant your left foot in between your hands. Again, checking that alignment, knee over ankle. Take a deep inhale, rise, low lunge. Once again, sink into the hips, hips are facing forward. Hands can join in prayer above your head. Gaze can lift if you like, or arms can come to a cactus shape, wherever feels comfortable for you. Or they can just stay here parted. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's frame that front foot and step back into tabletop. Okay, let's just draw your knees wide to the outer edges of the mat. Bring your big toes to touch and sink your sit bones back down onto your heels, and then draw your forehead down to the mat. Allow your arms to stay active and come to child's pose. Okay, so you can come to this posture at any point throughout the practice if you feel like you need a little bit of a rest. If you feel like you just want to breathe and collect your thoughts and collect your breath. Child's pose is a really nice, restorative, resting posture. So don't be afraid to come there if you need to. Okay, maybe in child's pose at the moment you just want to set an intention for your class. I always say this to my students when I'm teaching. You don't have to set an intention, but sometimes it's nice if you maybe offer the energy from your practice to somebody who might need a little bit more than you, or you can offer that energy to yourself, or you can just speak some positive words of affirmation to yourself. Your intention for your class might be today, I am enough. It might be I can. It might be I will. I'm just going to fiddle with the mouse on my screen so that the recording doesn't disappear, so sorry about that. Or it can be I will, I can, I am, I am good enough. And then one more breath here in your child's pose. And then take an inhale and come back to tabletop. Alright, we're going to come through to our first downward facing dog of the class. So spreading your fingers nice and wide on the mat. If you have trouble in your shoulders or you have a tight upper back or tight shoulders, for your down dog you can bring your hands a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. That'll just give you more space for your chest to come through your arms, okay? So let's tuck the toes. Take an inhale, hover your knees. And on your exhale, send your tailbone to the sky. Gaze comes towards your shins or your feet. Tailbone lifts, we're looking for length in the spine. Upper arms are rotated, so try not to hunch up to your shoulders. Really just allow them to relax away from your ears. Lift the tailbone, keep a bend in the knee. Don't worry about getting your heels down to the floor at this point. Just keep that nice bend in the knee, just so we're working through and lengthening the hamstrings and warming them up. Okay, with your gaze to your heels, or your gaze to your feet even, let's just lift and lower the heels, pedaling these feet out, lengthening through the back of the legs, switching on the muscles, allowing that synovial fluid to flow. Okay, keep breathing as well. Remember not to hold your breath. And then gazing towards your feet with your tailbone lifted. You're going to take an inhale, let it go. And then on your next inhale, you're going to creep your hands back towards your feet. Keep the knees bent here and allow your chest to come to your thighs. Let your head hang really heavy and come into this forward fold, Uttanasana. Now you can grab opposite elbow here and ragdoll yourself out. Give yourself a shake from side to side, just gently, letting everything go. Letting everything hang down. Really restorative posture is a forward fold. Really nice for just relaxing. This is Uttanasana in Sanskrit. And then placing your hands back on the floor. Keep your knees bent. If you can, straighten your legs and bring your chest to your thighs. Well done, that's amazing. But if not, just keep a nice gentle bend in your knee. Place the left hand in front of your feet. Straighten out the right leg. Keep a bend in your left knee. Take an inhale and lift your right arm to the ceiling. Okay, we're twisting here. Breathe in and breathe out. Shoulders are stacked on top of each other and just relax. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, release the hand, bend back into the right knee. Place the right hand in front of your feet. Straighten out the left leg. And then take an inhale and lift the left arm high. Keep that bend in the right knee. Stack the shoulders on top of one another. Gaze might come up towards the ceiling. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Release the hand all the way back to the mat. And take an inhale, straighten the legs out, bring your hands to your shins, come into a halfway lift. So tailbone now reaching towards the back of the room, crown of the head reaching towards the front, nice straight back. Exhale, you forward fold, Uttanasana. Hands to the floor, knees bend, chest to thighs, gaze comes between your shins. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, crown of your head reaches forwards. Exhale, we forward fold. This time ground down through the feet, root to rise, sweep the arms all the way above your head, straighten out your legs, Bring your arms, maybe your hands touch. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Okay, let's walk to the top of the mat. I'm going to adjust the camera slightly. Hopefully that will be okay. Alright, so coming to the top of your mat, I'm going to ask you to take a mountain pose, or Tadasana in Sanskrit. This is by bringing your big toes to touch and just leaving a slither of air in between your heels. Switching everything on, maybe lifting all 10 toes and then grounding them down into the mat. Feeling all 4 corners of your feet just grounding and rooting to the mat, switching on your legs. So imagine you've got like a £20 note in between your bum cheeks and you're gripping onto it for dear life. So engaging your glutes, engaging your quads. And then roll your shoulders back and down. Allow the crown of your head to reach up towards the ceiling. Standing tall. Imagine somebody's got a piece of string and they're pulling the crown of your head all the way up to the ceiling. So we're not slouched like this. We're nice and tall. Okay, take a deep breath in. Release. Inhale. And let it go. We're going to run through 3 rounds of Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A. So take a deep inhale, raise your hands high, your palms might touch above your head, your gaze might follow, keep your shoulders relaxed. As you exhale, forward fold. So you're hinging at your hips, tailbone comes lifting towards the sky, chest to thighs, hands to floor. Inhale, halfway lift, so we're coming back into that Ardha Uttanasana, crown of your head reaches forwards. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands and step back into a high plank. Okay, so heels pushing towards the back of the room, shoulders stacked over wrists, fingers spread nice and wide. Rounding through the back, try not to dump your weight into your hips. Lift your bottom, breathe in. As you breathe out, lower your knees, untuck your toes. Good idea to use a towel here if you've got anything going on with your knees. And then keeping your elbows in at your rib cage, on the exhale you're going to lower your body all the way down to the mat. Drop your feet, ground down through the tops of your feet, engage your glutes, take an inhale and lift your chest. Coming into a low cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, we lower. Inhale, lift the chest, engage through your glutes, this mini back bend. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck, and we send our tailbone high and come into a downward facing dog. Gaze towards your feet, feet are about hip distance apart. Bending the knee to lengthen the spine, okay? Try not to walk the hands further in, just so you can get your heels to the mat, okay? Your down dog wants to be roughly about the same length as your plank, okay? So down dog, bend in the knee, lift, lengthen the spine, gaze towards your shins. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, gaze forwards and step or walk to the front of your mat. Take an inhale, come into your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, swing the arms all the way above your head. Palms might touch. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samastiti He. Let's do that 2 more times. Take a deep inhale, raise your hands high. Exhale, forward fold, hinging at your hips, bending in your knees, chest to thighs, hands to floor, head hangs heavy. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten out your spine, crown of your head reaches forwards. Exhale, plant your hands on the floor, step back, high plank. Remember, shoulders over wrists, fingers spread nice and wide, heels to the back of your mat. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, lower your knees, untuck your toes, allow your chest to come to the floor, elbows in at the rib cage, try not to flare them out. Drop your feet, engage through your feet, engage through your glutes. Inhale, baby back bend. Mini cobra, low cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck, and send the tailbone high, downward facing dog. Again, keep that bending your knees to lengthen through your spine. Lift your tailbone, breathe in. Relax your shoulders, breathe out. Inhale, heels lift. And on the exhale, step or walk to the top of your mat. Take a deep inhale, come into your halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Let your head hang. Next breath in, arms come all the way above your head, straighten out your legs straight, spine, hands come above your head, they might touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Samastitihi, equal standing. One more time, come back to Tadasana, mountain posture. Allow your big toes to touch with a slither of air in between your heels. Okay, I'm just going to make sure the camera's not going off. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Next inhale, bring your arms all the way above your head. Exhale, forward fold. Uttanasana. Bending the knees, chest to thighs, hands to floor, head hangs. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Hands to shins or to the floor. Nice straight spine. As you exhale, lower your hands, step back, high plank. Shoulders over wrists, fingers spread nice and wide, heels to the back of the mat. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower your knees, untuck the toes, bring the chest onto the floor, elbows tight into the ribcage, relax your shoulders, drop your feet. Take an inhale, lift your chest, baby back bend, Bhujangasana. As you exhale, knees bend, toes tuck, tailbone comes all the way to the ceiling, downward facing dog. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, breathe in. And breathe out, looking for length in the spine rather than heels to the floor. So relax those shoulders, breathe in, breathe out. Next inhale, heels lift. And on your exhale, step or walk to the top of your mat. Take an inhale, come into your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, root to rise, ground down through the feet, straighten the legs, reverse swan dive your arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, well done guys. So that's 3 rounds of Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A. Take a drink if you need to. We're now going to run through 2 rounds of Sun Salutation C with 2 variations. So there's a level 1 and a level 2, and you can do any of these. Some classes have a level 1 in them and remain at that level for the whole of the class. Some teachers like to instruct the second level, depends what kind of intensity the class is. If there is no need to do level 2, you can stay at level 1, but if you want to try a little bit harder, you can move to level 2. Okay, so going back to this mountain posture, Tadasana, big toes are touching, slither of air between your heels. Allow your shoulders to relax away from your ears, draw your palms to face forwards, standing nice and tall. Take a deep breath in through your nose, let it go through your mouth. Next inhale raises our hands high. Palms might touch, gaze might follow. On your exhale, you forward fold. Hinge at your hips, bending your knees, chest to thighs, hands to floor, head hangs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands, step the right leg back. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes. Make sure your front ankle is under your knee. And then take an inhale and rise into this low lunge. This is what we practice in the warm-up. Breathe in and breathe out. Allow your thighs to scissor together. So the leg, you want to avoid flaring the leg out to the side. Really switching on the legs. Sink in the hips if you want to. Come into a gentle back bend if that feels nice. Ground down through the feet. Inhale. Exhale, frame your front foot. Untuck your back toe. Lift your knee. Step the left foot to meet the right and come into your high plank. So shoulders over wrists, bum is lifted, breathe in. And as you exhale, lower your knees, untuck your toes. Chest comes onto the floor, elbows in at the rib cage, drop the feet. Breathe in, lift the chest, Bhujangasana. Low cobra, elbows are still in at your rib cage. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck. Tailbone comes high for your downward facing dog. Relax your shoulders, bend your knees, gaze towards your shins. Length through the spine. Take an inhale, lift your right leg high. Make sure your hips are square to the mat. On your exhale, draw your right knee towards your nose, just like we did in the warm-up when we were on all fours. And plant the right foot in between your hands. Okay, doesn't matter how many times it takes you to shuffle it through. Drop your back knee, untuck your left toes, and then take an inhale, rise into your low lunge on this side. Again, making sure your alignment is correct here. Knee over ankle, not tracking forwards, hips facing the short edge of your mat. Sink into them a little bit further if you want a little bit more of an intense stretch. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale. Exhale, frame your front foot, untuck the back foot, lift the knee, and step to the front of your mat on the exhale. Take an inhale, come into half lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reverse swan dive those arms all the way up to the ceiling. Palms might touch for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. All right, let's do that again, but on the left-hand side. Take an inhale, rise. Raise those arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Hinging at your hips, bending the knees, chest to thighs, head hangs. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands, step the left foot back. Drop the knee, untuck the toes. And inhale into your low lunge. Again, checking your alignment here. Making sure you're scissoring those thighs together really strong and rooted through that front foot. Chest is forward. Arms can be wherever you like, wherever they're comfortable. Breathe in and breathe out. Frame your front foot, untuck your toes, lift your back knee, send your right foot back to meet your left. Come into this high plank again. Checking your alignment, shoulders slightly rounded, bum lifted. Breathe in. As you breathe out, lower your knees, untuck your toes, chest comes onto the floor. Remember to keep those elbows in the body. Drop your feet. Engage through your glutes as you inhale, baby cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck. Tailbone comes high for your downward facing dog. All right, making sure that your shoulders are away from your ears. Bending the knee to lengthen through the spine. Gaze comes towards your feet or your shins. Take an inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bring the left foot forwards and plant it in between your hands. Drop the back knee and untuck your toe. All right, if you need to shuffle that foot further forwards, please do, so you can get your ankle over your knee over your ankle, rather than we having this knee tracking in front. That's just going to hurt the knee joint. Take an inhale, rise into your low lunge on this side. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale and then exhale, frame that left foot, untuck the back toes, lift the right knee, step forwards, come into a halfway lift on your inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, root to rise through the hands all the way above your head. Exhale, hands to heart center. Samastitihi, equal standing. All right, we're going to do that again, but we're going to run through level 2, which involves keeping the knees lifted rather than placing them on the floor. So, coming back to mountain posture, Tadasana. Big toes are touching, slither there between the heels. Engaging through your legs, through your glutes, through the sides of your body. Shoulders roll back and down, palms face forwards. Crown of your head towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in and let it go. One more, breathe in and release. Next inhale, reach the hands high, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, hinge at your hips, bending your knees, hands to the floor, head hangs. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant the hands, step the right foot to the back of the mat, keep the knee lifted. Take an inhale, rise into a high lunge on this side. All right, Again, making sure your alignment is correct here, knee over ankle. You can bend in that back knee if it's easier, you can keep it straight. Scissor those thighs in together, breathe in and breathe out. Inhale. Exhale, we frame that front foot, step back, high plank. Take an inhale in your high plank. And then as you exhale, lower your knees, untuck your toes, chest comes to the floor, elbows into the body, drop the feet. Engage through your glutes as you lift your chest for your bhujangasana. Try and take the weight out of your hands. Exhale to your downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, bend your knees, tailbone comes high. Breathe in and breathe out. 1 second while I fiddle with the camera again. Sorry about this. Okay, next inhale, right leg rises. As you exhale, bring the right foot forward, plant it in between your hands and keep the left knee lifted. On your next inhale, rise. High lunge or crescent lunge on this side. All right, I'm going to add something in here, a little bit of a balance. So if you want to grab your block, it might be a good time if you do need your block. And plant it on the floor just in front of your toes, in front of your right toes. So staying lifted. You can keep your hands here. We're going to move into warrior 3. Take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, we're going to shift the weight into the right leg. So ground through the right foot, lift the left leg, and send your body forwards. So hinging at your hips, coming into this human T shape, flexing the left foot, sorry. If this is a little bit too intense at first, you can bring your hands to that block or that cushion or whatever you've got to stabilise you for balance. And then you can practice lifting one hand off the block and maybe lifting the other. We're going to stay for 2 breaths. Really engage through that rooted foot and that strong standing leg. And then on the exhale, you're going to draw your left foot to meet your right and then take an inhale, swoop the hands high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Well done, we'll do that on the opposite side. Let's come back to Tadasana, mountain posture. Shoulders back and down. Take a deep inhale and let it go. Next inhale, raise the hands high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands and then step your left foot to the back of the mat. Take an inhale, rise, high lunge. Okay, again, scissoring those thighs together, breathe in. Checking your alignment, breathe out. Inhale. Exhale, frame the front foot. Step back to your high plank. Take an inhale in your high plank. And as you exhale, lower your knees, untuck your toes, chest to the floor, elbows into the body. Breathe in Bhujangasana. Lift the chest. Long through your neck. Exhale, downward facing dog. Tailbone lifts. Keep a bend in the knee. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot comes through. Shuffle it as many times as it takes. And then take an inhale, rise. High lunge. Left knee is forward. Making sure that knee is on top of the ankle. Breathe in. We're going to shift forward to warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. So if you need that block, you can bring it to wherever you need it. In front of your toes. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Shift the weight into the left leg. Flexing the right foot as you lift it. And your body comes parallel to the floor. Crown of your head reaches forward. Hips are square. Really strong and stable through that standing leg. One more breath. And then draw your right foot to meet your left. Take an inhale. Swoop your arms high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, well done. I'm going to move on to Sun Salutation B. So take a drink if you need to. Excuse me. Hope you're all feeling nice and warmed up. So come back to Tadasana, mountain posture. Toes are touching, slither air in between your heels. Roll your shoulders back and down. Take a deep inhale. let it go. Alright, next inhale, you're going to sink your tailbone down, lift your arms and come into chair pose, Utkatasana. So really squeeze those thighs together, make sure you can see your toes over your knees. Try to avoid this bum sticking out, we don't want any twerking going on. You want to really sink the tailbone towards the floor. Imagine you're sitting back on a chair. Arms can come here if that's tight on the shoulders, or they can come up to just where your ears are. Breathe in, and then breathe out, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Take an inhale in your high plank. Remember checking your alignment, shoulders over wrists. Exhale, knees come to the floor. Chest comes to the floor, elbows in at the rib cage. Take an inhale, Bhujangasana, low cobra, lift your chest, engage through your glutes. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck. Tailbone comes high for your downward facing dog. Alright, lift the tailbone to the ceiling, bending the knees, relax the upper arms. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, right foot comes in between your hands. Okay, take your time, however long it takes to shuffle it forward. And then we're going to drop the left foot to a 45-degree angle. Okay, so your toes want to be pointing up, maybe towards the front corner of your mat. Then we're going to take an inhale and rise, keeping a bend in the front knee. We're coming to Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. So arms can be above your head with a pistol grip, or with in prayer like that. Or you can bring them to heart center, however you feel. Alright, the aim of this posture, hips facing to the front edge of your mat. If it feels a little bit weird, and you feel like your back foot is lifted, you need to be keeping the back foot down. So heel toe your right foot out slightly, so you can bring your hips further round. Okay. Lift, bending that front knee, making sure that that knee is on top of the ankle. Warrior One, breathe in. And then breathe out, frame the front foot. Step it back into a high plank. And then exhale through what we call and what we teach as a vinyasa. So knees, chest and chin to the floor. Inhaling to your upward facing, inhaling to your cobra here, Bhujangasana. Exhaling to your downward facing dog. Alright, take a breath. Keep that tailbone lifted, length through the spine. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bring the left foot through, plant it in between your hands. Drop the right foot. Again, you want to be grounding through your right little toe. Bending the front knee, take an inhale. Warrior One on this side. Again, if you need that space for your hips, heel toe the left foot out to the side slightly, so you can keep that back foot grounded and your hips can come forward, so the square. Bend in the knee, knee over ankle, breathe in, Warrior One. Okay, breathe out, keep your shoulders relaxed. Inhale, exhale, frame that left foot, step it back to a high plank, and then we flow through our vinyasa. Exhale through knees, chest and chin, elbows in at the rib cage as you come down. Breathe in, Bhujangasana. And then breathe out, toes tuck, knees bend, downward facing dog. Take an inhale, your heels lift, gaze comes towards the front of your mat. As you exhale, step forwards. Take an inhale, come into a halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose, just like we did at the beginning. Exhale, hands to heart center. Well done. Take another drink if you need to here. We're going to repeat that, but this time we're going to add on. So we're going to come to a little bit of a standing sequence before we come to the final postures of our class. So bringing your feet together at the top of your mat, come back into Tadasana. Palms facing forward, shoulders nice and relaxed away from your ears. Breathe in and breathe out. Next inhale, send your hands high. Palms might touch, gaze might follow. Exhale, forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, come to Utkatasana. Alright, so we're coming back into this chair pose here. Let's see your toes in front of your knees. Tailbone towards the floor. Okay, breathe in. Breathe out, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back into this high plank. Take an inhale here. Exhale, lower your knees, toes untuck. Come down onto the floor. Drop your feet. Engage through your glutes as you lift your chest. Keep your neck long. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck, downward facing dog. Send your tailbone high. Keep a bend in the knees if you still need to. If you can lower those heels towards the mat without compromising the integrity of your spine and the length of your spine, then feel free to do so. Inhale, right leg lifts. Keep the hips square. Exhale, right foot comes forwards. Drop the left foot, 45-degree angle. Inhale, rise, warrior one. Okay. Excuse me, I'm going to switch sides. You can stay where you are. So in your warrior one, with your right knee forwards, we're going to take an inhale. And on the exhale, move into warrior two. All right, you might want to adjust your feet here. You probably will need to. Right toes are facing forwards. Right heel is in line with the arch of your left foot. And you're grounding down through your baby toe on your left foot, okay? Knee is bent. Right knee is bent. You want to distribute the weight into both legs evenly. Arms to shoulder height. Relax your shoulders. Try not to tense them up. Relax them down. Torso is straight rather than coming forwards. You're going to keep that torso straight. Chest to the long end of the mat. And then turn your gaze over your right middle finger. Strong warrior. Virabhadrasana 2. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. And exhale. Next inhale, you're going to straighten your front leg. And exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Heel toe your back foot slightly in. We're setting up for our triangle pose, Trikonasana. Inhale, bring the arms back to shoulder height. Exhale. And then on your next inhale, you're going to reach forwards with that right hand. When you can't go any further, sending your left hip to the back of the room. Exhale, bring your right arm down. Send your left arm high. Stack the left shoulder on top of the right. Keep both legs straight. And then just draw the right hip forwards, left hip back. And imagine you're squeezing yourself in between two panes of glass. Nice and strong. Hand can either be on near your knee, shin, ankle, floor, wherever you feel nice. Breathe in and breathe out. Next inhale, gentle bend in that front knee as you come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to pivot on the back foot so that both feet are facing forwards. Take an inhale, come into a high lunge. Exhale, plant your hands on the floor. Step back, high plank. Take an inhale. And then exhale, flow through your vinyasa. Knees, chest, chin, elbows in at the rib cage. Inhale, Bhujangasana, low cobra, long through the neck. Engage through your glutes. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck. Tailbone comes high for your downward facing dog. Okay, lengthen the spine, relax the shoulders, bending the knee to lift the tailbone. Your gaze comes towards your feet. We do the opposite side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot comes forward, plants between the hands. Right foot drops. Inhale, warrior one. Bend in that front knee, check your alignment. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, and we exhale to warrior two. And I'm going to spin back this way. Okay, so again, checking your alignment here. Knee over ankle, left toes pointing forwards, long edge of your right foot towards parallel with the back of your mat. Heel of your left foot in line with the arch of your back foot. Straight and strong back leg. And just draw your knee to the little toe side of your foot. Arms come to shoulder height. Bend into that knee. Allow your torso to be straight, so not tracking forwards like this. Nice and straight, chest to the long edge of the mat. Gaze towards your left middle finger. That's your drishti, your focus point. Breathe in and breathe out. One more, inhale and exhale. Ground down through that left little toe. Okay, next inhale. Straightens the left leg, hands come to the hips on the exhale. Heel toe, your back foot in slightly. We're setting up for Trikonasana again, triangle pose. Both legs strong and straight. Inhale, reach your arms high. Shoulder height, relax your shoulders, exhale. Inhale, reach forwards with your left arm. Send your right hip to the back of the room when you can't go any further. Exhale, bring your left arm down. Send your right arm high. Okay, shoulders are stacking. Left hip comes forwards, right hip comes back. Hand either on the shin, ankle, shin, wherever it's comfortable, or it can be on the floor. You can grip onto your big toe. Really relaxing through the shoulders, shining your heart towards the ceiling. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, exhale. Next inhale, just slight bend into that front knee, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Let's pivot on the back foot, come into a high lunge, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands on the floor, step it back into a high plank, and then we flow through our vinyasa. Inhale. Exhale, lower the knees, untuck the toes, bring your chest to the floor. Drop your feet. Inhale, Bhujangasana, low cobra. Exhale, knees bend, toes tuck. Downward facing dog. Last downward facing dog of the practice, I promise. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, step to the top of your mat or walk there. Tiptoe there, however you like. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose, fierce pose here. Make sure you can see your toes. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, exhale, Samasthiti. Here comes the standing. Well done. All right, we're almost there. I promise. Take a drink if you need to. I'm not sponsored by Starbucks, by the way. Just happen to have that mug. Okay. So for our peak posture, we're going to move into tree pose, Vrikshasana in Sanskrit. Tree pose is a nice balancing posture, nice stabilizing posture. Really helps to improve concentration, focus, stability, strength in the legs. And it's just really good for grounding. If you ever feel like, you know, your headspace, you're not in the right headspace, you feel a little bit flighty, a little bit all over the place, then practicing tree pose can be a really good way of bringing you back down to earth, I suppose, and finding those roots. Okay, so I'm going to mirror you. So ground down through your left foot. All right, you want all four corners of your left foot rooted into the mat, strong through your left leg. Bring your hands to your hips, really nice straight spine, and then let's turn and rotate the right hip out to the side. Okay, and maybe turn it back, and then turn it out to the side. Just see how that feels with this rotation. Okay, and then keeping your right hip flexor opened, you're going to bring your heel of your right foot onto your left ankle. Again, I'm just going to fiddle with the camera. Sorry about that, technology is not my strong point. Okay, so heel of your right foot comes to the ankle on your left foot. And this might be your tree. This might be your Vrikshasana for today. If it is, you can bring your hands to heart center. You can maybe practice opening up your branches. You might want to close your eyes, just feeling the sensations as you ground down through your feet. Or if you want to take it a little bit further, you can bring your right foot on the inside of your left shin, or your left calf even. Try and avoid this knee joint here, the delicate knee joint, and just bring your foot to your calf. Again, you can bring your hands to heart center if you like. You can practice your balance. You can close your eyes. You can find a spot on the floor, on the wall, something to look at and focus on, just if you find it a little bit difficult to balance today. And then if you want, again, you can raise your branches, bring them out to the side, bring them back in, whatever you feel like you need to do. Or you can come to level 3. Woo, embrace the wobbles and allow the sole of your foot to come to the inside. I'm really rubbish on this leg. So just let yourself wobble. If you wobble, don't worry, okay? Sole of the right foot on the inside of your left thigh, okay? Try and avoid that knee joint. So bring your hands to prayer if that feels nice. All right, breathe in. Really about the opening through the hip here, not how high you can get your foot. Again, if you want to test your balance, opening up your branches. Maybe you want to close your eyes. Ooh. Test your balance again, and then whenever you're ready, just allowing your right leg to come back down to the floor. Take an inhale, raise your hands high. Exhale, scoop the energy back down to your heart. All right, we'll go on the opposite side. Just grounding through your right leg this time, your right foot. Maybe lift all 5 toes on your right foot. Plant them down, allow them to come rooted. Hands come to hips. Then we just rotate the left leg out to the side. Again, feeling the movement. Just getting used to how it feels to open our hip flexors and rotate into our hips. All right, and then leaving the left leg out to the side in this rotation, you're going to bring the heel of the left foot onto the ankle of your right foot. And you can bring your hands to heart center. If you did, try and do the same on the opposite side as you did on the first side. It's just that allows us to balance out the body. This is what I would say for every single posture that you do as well. If you do something on the left, do it on the right, okay? So it just then helps to balance us out. So bringing your heel to your ankle. Maybe you can close your eyes here. You might just want to chill out in this level 1 variation of tree pose or vrikshasana. You might want to extend your branches. You might want to sway in the wind a little bit this time. All right, testing your balance even more, okay? Or level 2, you can bring the sole of your left foot on the inside of your right calf, or right shin, and just avoiding that knee joint, and just, again, gripping onto the mat with your right foot, and experimenting with the arms if you like, opening up your branches. Maybe you want to close your eyes here, test your balance. Swaying in the wind, don't worry if you wobble or you fall. Okay, or you can come to level 3, bringing the left foot on the inside of your right thigh. Again, avoiding your knee joint, allowing your hips to open. Don't worry if you can't get your foot this high up, doesn't matter. It's about the opening in your hips rather than how high you can get your foot up your leg. All right, so breathing in, remember your breath. Again, experimenting with those arms, those branches, swaying in the wind if you like. Woo, embrace your wobbles. And then closing your eyes if you want to take it a little bit further. And then whenever you're ready, just gently releasing that left leg, bringing it down to the floor. Take a deep inhale, rise, raise your hands. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Okay, lovely. Well done, guys. We're near the end of our practice. We're going to come down to the mat, just do a couple more postures before we make our final shape in Shavasana. Bring your big toes to touch. Come back into your mountain posture. It's Tadasana, the foundation for a lot of our yoga postures. Allow your Spine's being nice and straight, so you're standing up tall. Shoulders roll back and down. Breathe in and let it go. Next inhale, you're going to come back into this chair pose, Utkatasana. So sending your arms in front of you. If they can come up by your ears, amazing. If not, you can just have them here if that's a little bit tight on your shoulders. It is for me sometimes, so I tend to just have them out of front. Make sure you can see your feet and your toes beyond your knees. Nice long spine. Breathe in, scissor those thighs together, breathe out. Next inhale, you're going to lift your heels. You're going to stay here for 2 breaths. I know it's hard. Scissor the thighs together, breathe in and breathe out. Last breath in. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, you're going to lower yourself down to the mat, all the way onto your bottoms. Doesn't matter how gracefully or how ungracefully, in my case, you do this. Nobody can see you, you're practicing at home, don't worry. All right, and then we're coming to this seated position. Let's lengthen our legs. Come to staff pose, Dandasana. All right, so you've got nice straight legs. If it's a little bit of trouble on your lower back, you can always keep a bend in your knee here. Shuffle the fleshy bit from underneath your bum cheeks. I know I've got a bit of it. And sit up nice and tall. Hands can come to the floor if that's comfortable. We're going to take a Paschimottanasana, a forward fold. Seated forward fold. Just like we did when we stood up. So imagine the cameras coming to a 90-degree angle. Again, if you feel like you need to bend your knees, please bend your knees. The aim of this posture is to lengthen through the hamstrings and the back of the legs, but also to lengthen and elongate the spine and the back of the body. So breathe in, reach your hands high, and as you breathe out, you're going to hinge from your hips and fold forward over your legs, okay? Hands can come wherever they fall, whether it's aside, whether it's right out in front of your feet, whether it's onto your feet, on your ankles, your shins, wherever. If they reach your feet, try not to pull your feet towards you just to bring your body lower. You're going to just be trying to keep this nice elongation and length through the spine. So each inhale you're going to lift, and each exhale you're going to fold. Don't worry where you come to. You might only come to here. That's fine. You're still doing a forward fold. You're still in Paschimottanasana. Okay, try and avoid this rounding in the spine just to get down to your shins. And your gaze comes beyond your feet. Breathe in and breathe out. Next inhale, you're going to creep your hands slowly back upwards. And you're going to bend into your knees, soles of the feet on the floor. You're just going to shuffle your bum forward slightly. And we're going to move down onto the mat, taking a couple more postures before we move to Shavasana. So leaning back on a 45-degree angle, drawing your arms out long. Relax your shoulders, allow your chest to lift. Take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to engage through your core muscles and you're going to roll down onto the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae. And just gently, and then placing your hands on the floor. Nice to lie down, isn't it? Okay. Bringing the heels of your feet just a little bit closer to your bottom. Maybe your knees and your feet are about hip distance apart. I'm going to move into a gentle bridge pose. So arms down the sides of your body, grounding down your hands into the mat, grounding your feet into the mat. Take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to lift your hips. So ground down through your feet and send your hips to the ceiling. All right, if you can stay here for about 5 breaths. If you want to go a little further, shuffle your shoulders underneath your back and lift your hips even more, engaging through your glutes. Okay, you can bring your hands underneath your back. I'm sorry, I'm just going to fiddle with the camera once more. So keep breathing through this posture. Okay, so for your bridge, you could be here. You could have your shoulders underneath your back, or you could bring your hands, clasp your hands, and then lift your hips a little bit higher really engaging through those thighs and those quads. Keeping your chin tucked towards your chest, so you're keeping the back of your neck long, okay? Breathe in and breathe out. And then to come out, we slowly release the shoulders and unclasp the hands if that's where you've been, or if you're just in this gentle bridge posture, we're going to take an inhale, and then on the exhale, just gently lower down and roll down the vertebrae, roll down your spine until the whole back of your body comes onto the floor. Keep your chin dipped towards your chest slightly. And then draw your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Bring your knees to touch. And we're going to windscreen wiper those legs back and forward. Or from side to side even. Okay. Just easing off with that lower back. Massaging the lower spine after the back bend in your bridge. And then coming to a place of stillness, sending your left leg long and drawing your right knee in towards your chest and giving it a big hug. And send your right arm out to the side. Keep your right shoulder rooted into the mat. Take a deep inhale. And then using your left hand, just guide the right knee over to the side, twisting through your lower back and your torso. And then if it's comfortable on your neck, you can bring your gaze over to your right fingers. Breathe in and breathe out. Next inhale comes all the way back to centre. Reset your gaze. Allow your right leg to come long this time, and then draw your left knee in towards your chest for a big hug on the inhale. Send your right arm out to the side, whether that's in a cactus shape or out long, depending on how much space you have. And then keep your left shoulder rooted into the mat. Take a deep inhale, and then using your right hand on the exhale, let's guide the left knee over to the right hand side. Remember, keep that left shoulder into the mat. If it feels comfortable on your neck, you can turn your neck and gaze down your left fingers. Breathe in and breathe out. Next inhale comes all the way back to centre. Bring your right knee in to meet your left and give yourself one giant, humongous hug. Maybe rock from side to side, just massage into your spine again before we make our final shape of the day, our Shavasana. So allowing your legs to come long, let your feet hang out to the corners of the mat. Feel the whole back of your legs as they melt into the mat. Feel the length of your spine as it melts into the mat. And draw your arms by your sides. They can be as wide or as close to your body as you like. Turn your palms to face up towards the ceiling. And then relax your shoulders. Shuffle them away from your ears a bit. Close your eyes. Draw your focus back to that space between your eyebrows, just as we did at the beginning of class. Dip your chin towards your chest slightly. Relaxing your jaw, relaxing your forehead. Feel your whole body melt into the mat. Take a deep inhale through your nose and let it go through your mouth. Once more, inhale. Let it go. Shavasana. You can stay in your Shavasana for as long as you like, no time limit. But for anyone who wishes to come out, I usually would give about 5 or 7 minutes for a Shavasana. But just for today, you can allow my voice to bring you back to the room and back to your breath. Allow your breath to become deeper and longer. Draw your awareness to the space in between your eyebrows and observe how your body feels. Maybe check back in with your intention if you did make one at the beginning of class. And then start to make some gentle movements in your toes and your fingers and in your ankles and your wrists. Maybe give yourself a full body stretch. That's what you feel you need today. Lengthening your arms overhead and pointing your toes, really tensing every single muscle in your body and then just letting it go. Shavasana symbolises rebirth, so we take all the energy from our practice from the last hour or so, all that tapas, that fire that we've built in our bellies. And then when you're in Shavasana in corpse pose, you're letting go of any negative energy, of any of the intense energy that you built up. And taking an inhale and drawing your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself another last humongous hug before rolling over onto your right hand side. Coming into the fetus position, signifying rebirth. Everything that's gone has passed. And we now move into the future, reborn, new energy, revitalised. Using your left hand, if you like, to guide you up to an easy seated position on your mat, like we did at the start. So this is Sukhasana in Sanskrit. You can use your block or your pillow or your cushion, whatever. You don't have to if you don't want to. But keeping your gaze soft, your eyes closed if you wish. Bringing your hands to your knees for the time being. Let's just dip your chin towards your chest. And then bring your hands to heart center in Anjali Mudra or prayer. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Let it go through your mouth. Once more to seal the practice. Inhale. And let it go. And then draw your thumbs to that space between your eyebrows. Your focus point, your mind space, where your intuition, your third eye lies. The light in me honours and salutes the light in every single one of you. Thank you so much for letting me guide you through your practice today. Namaste. So, thank you very much. Take your time getting up, please. Don't want any head rushes or anything. Take on lots of water. Make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to readjust to how your body feels, how your mind feels, and hopefully you've enjoyed that practice. If you'd like more videos like that, where it's quite a gentle practice with lots of explanation and lots of alignment cues, then please let me know. And yeah, keep following and keep looking out for videos. Any questions, please do send me a message or comment on this video, or you can head to my website, amyfarnworthyoga.co.uk, and you can fill in the contact form there if you wish. In the meantime, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and have a nice rest of the day, whatever you may be doing. And hopefully I'll see you in the studio soon. Take care. Bye.